Hello, everyone. This is Ben Levine on Levine Sports Segment, Episode 1. I'm going to be discussing for Com 217 about a beat reporting on the NBA and later get into college basketball. I need a lot of people to be invited on this Facebook Live as we talk about certain sports regarding the NBA conspiracy with LeBron, how he's not officially right now going to the playoffs. LeBron is currently in the 10th seed in the Western Conference. Obviously, the Western Conference is very stacked for the last 15, 20 years, and it needs to be very balanced for LeBron to get farther in the playoff rounds. However, the Lakers are not suitable for a finals run, unfortunately, this year. Obviously, Brandon Ingram has got very injured, and on a show with Colin Cowherd, they have said that LeBron hasn't made the playoffs since the 04-05 season, and I believe that the Lakers need a lot of help in future seasons to come. However, across the league, there's a lot of super teams out there, and LeBron was hoping to get a superstar at some point in his time in Los Angeles. Obviously, the Anthony Davis trade has not helped at all, and I believe that the Lakers are screwed for this season not to make the playoffs. Obviously, I could be wrong, but we'll see what time they have in this foreseeable future. However, in the Eastern Conference, you got Toronto, you got Milwaukee, you got Philadelphia, and Indiana and Boston. They're all great teams, and I believe the Eastern Conference is a much more improved conference after LeBron left this past summer. Obviously, there's some speculation of who's going to win the East. I believe that Milwaukee will probably win the East, but you never know. The playoffs are very unpredictable sometimes. For the last 4 years, it's been pretty predictable who is going to be in the NBA Finals, but obviously the Warriors could be upsetted in the West potentially by either Houston, Oklahoma City, Denver. You never know. Maybe a certain team will get hot at the start of the playoffs like the Pelicans did last postseason, but I think it's out of control how the Warriors are getting all these players, obviously, for their super team. Obviously, Durant is injured at this moment, but I certainly believe that at the end, you never know what's going to happen. The Warriors could win a NBA championship this year and have the first three-peat since the 2000 to 2002 Los Angeles Lakers. But we'll see what happens. And another aspect I had is that the NBA has a buyout policy with certain former players. Some former players that are not playing in the league are still getting paid by certain teams. I found out today that Chris Bosh is getting over $26 million this season despite not playing anymore due to unfortunate circumstances with his health. And I think that's unfortunate, but he deserves that money because of his illustrious career. I also believe that Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili deserve their money that they have currently in this with the Spurs, despite retiring, which is fine for that scenario. However, Josh Smith from the Pistons is still getting $5 million a year, and I believe that it's not good because he was not productive for that team, and I also believe that it is not good because he wasn't productive, and he needs a lot of help with those certain situations for financial reasons down the road. Well, I mean, it's good to get $5 million a year. I would love to get $5 million a year, but not by reaching a buyout. But obviously, I'm not in the NBA. But this is what I was thinking watching this video this morning about how certain NBA teams are looking for different pushes in the near future. I think that this free agency, as of many years of free agency, this is probably one of the better ones of all time. I've been saying that for the last few years, but it gets better and better. You never know what is going to be the best. I thought the summer of 2010 was the best. Last year was really good for free agency. I thought the trades for the Sixers were pretty good so far, but obviously time will tell what the big outcomes of that are. Obviously, I would love to have Jason Tatum on the Sixers, but unfortunately, we screwed up in that draft. But we will see how the NBA turns in the next moments of years and see what happens. And we'll figure out what will be best for all certain teams to compete hard and work hard to achieve the biggest goal in the league is obviously winning the championship. And that's the biggest goal. On to college basketball. Obviously, there's a lot of great conference tournament games today. I believe that Big East and ACC are the top tier of the conference tournaments. Obviously, Gonzaga got upset the other night, and I was a little shocked by that. They haven't been playing they played awful in the championship game. I just think that they need to get going in the NCAA tournament because they're definitely a national champion contending team, but you never know. They could get upsetted early, unfortunately. I believe that Duke has a chance of still going far, but Zion needs to play at a much better standard shooting the ball. Obviously, his health is a major factor. We don't know if he's 100% or not, but I believe he'll play to his standards, but we'll see how far they go. Obviously, the American tournament for the men's is more like Cincinnati, SMU, Houston are the big top dogs in that conference mostly. Obviously, UConn has taken a step back in the last few years, and they have a great coach in Dan Hurley, but they need more improving and better recruits in the near future, and hopefully we can get more people to help out this UConn program. Obviously, I like watching the Ivy League championship. I understand Ivy League is not popular in basketball often, but I think they got some talent in there, but it's not like NBA talent or anything, but still competitive basketball for great academically well-known schools. I believe that they are very great academically if you want to get into certain careers, but obviously for sports, it may not be to the higher standard of what you expect for everything in the particular sport program you want to be in. I also think that Yale is always a good team in the conference, and they actually are hosting the Ivy League championship game this year in New Haven, Connecticut, which is pretty exciting. I wish that all teams were able to participate, not just the top four. Obviously, it's a small conference, but I think it would be nice to see all that in one conference going for it all. You could be the worst record and then possibly make the NCAA tournament because you win the conference tournament. I mean, obviously that happens in bigger conferences, but it would be nice to see that in a bigger conference, in that smaller conference as well. I also think that the Conference USA tournament is pretty good. The America East, I think, is very not. I don't think it's a great conference. Obviously, you got UNH and UMaine, but they've never made an NCAA tournament for men's basketball. But I believe they need more help in that conference to make it a much more competitive conference to play against. Because to be honest with you, say if UNC plays Maine sometimes, it's just a game that you could work with your players that barely play on UNC and just give them more playing time, obviously. But it's just a doormat game, honestly. And I think they need to work to make it a much more competitive league and a much better program. Good luck to Dean College baseball today as they play Albertus Magnus. And I have a friend on Albertus Magnus who I went to high school with. It'll be interesting to see how the outcome of that game will be. I hope hopefully the Yankees will be doing well for the upcoming season. But I'll get to more baseball when it's the regular season starts. This is basketball time, obviously, but basketball is 24/7, 365 for me all the time. And it's great because basketball can play all year round, no matter what climate you're in. For also with basketball, the FIBA World Championship is coming up in 2019 in August, and it's always fun to watch that, see all the USA players play together, all the great NBA players who are not from America to join their country and play for their country, which is always nice. I also think that we might need to change it up in the near future to get one of the FIBA America games in America, but obviously we need to look for a better bid. It could be the next 20, 25 years until it comes back to America, unfortunately. Then again, getting back to the NBA, I also believe that the Brooklyn Nets, I thought they were going to be a doormat at the NBA this year, and they unfortunately are a playoff team this year. I was a little surprised by that, but I knew they had some talent, and I was shocked when they competed against the Houston Rockets this past December, and I was a little shocked by that. They obviously had a pretty big lead on the Thunder last night and then got blown out in the fourth quarter, but the Thunder are a very great team, and I think that they need to work on a lot more to become a better team in the future, but they do have a lot of salary cap ready for next offseason, and I believe that the Nets could potentially get Kyrie Irving or maybe go after Kevin Durant. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell is their point guard, so it might be tough having Russell and Irving on the same team, but, I mean, Irving would want to play more off-ball, but he wants the ball in his hands at the same time. It's very tough to have another ball handler who's ball dominant like Kyrie and D'Angelo at the same time. I also believe that the Knicks are just out of control with their organization right now. James Dolan is an awful owner of the whole Madison Square Garden company. Obviously, he is emotionally upset of how people perceive him and how people treat him, but I don't think it's right to ban a fan that says, sell the team, sell the team. Obviously, that was uncalled for, and it was not nice. But, James Dolan has been screwing over the New York Knicks since the 1999-2000 season when he bought the team. And he traded away Patrick Ewing after the 2000 season in the Eastern Conference Finals, loss to the Pacers. But, he screws up with their money and how they do things around the league. And you know what? They have a good coach finally with Dave Fizdale, but they have a lot of cap space like the Nets. But you know what? They may or may not get Zion the first overall pick, or they might not even get the first overall pick in this upcoming draft. They will be a lottery team, no doubt about it. There's some other good players they might get, and they have some decent players right now. But the problem is they need to get a big-time free agent to get the city of New York a championship because they've been craving one since 1973. They need one, and they need help. But they will continue to be a doormat despite being in the world's most famous arena every single year if they don't get over the hump and want free agents to go there. But the free agents love the city of New York, but they know that Dolan is a toxic environment for the New York Knicks. And obviously, Dolan has a lot of power, so it's a little sketchy if Adam Silver was to get rid of James Dolan as the owner of the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. That's very controversial because he went over the line what he did, but it's not like any racial or any other awful things that could have been done. This is just a simple statement some fan did, and it went out of proportion tremendously. I also think that coming up in basketball, that besides free agency, when do you think different All-Star game will happen in different cities? Obviously, Chicago and Indiana and Cleveland are the next three for the All-Star games, but maybe people are hoping to see it in a different city, or maybe a neutral city with a lot of different aspects. Obviously, Las Vegas has been used in 2007 to promote basketball in Vegas, and we will see how the NBA reacts to that. However, I've also seen something a little bit interesting in the last year or so on how the NBA might get rid of all the conferences in general, the Western and the Eastern Conference, and have just an NBA playoff. And I think it could happen, but you could see Lakers and Celtics go at a certain time, like maybe a first-round matchup. That would be interesting, but that's more meant to be an NBA Finals matchup. Obviously, like the best team in the league could get upset in the first round between like maybe a 500 or a less than 500 record team, but it loses the concept of battling for East versus West like they have done for the entirety of the NBA. So I believe that it's not the best for them to do that, and they might need some help down the road with that. We're going to take a short break, so I'm going to play a little music right now just to get ready for the next topic of basketball. Hold on a second. Just let me get the music going, and I'll be right back. Play Shakedown Street. Hold on. Just a little malfunction right there. Of those watching, I'll be on a short break because I'm not going to play Shakedown Street right now. I'm just going to play Mexicali Blues while I take a quick break and get back in about a minute.
With a peso in my hand, watching flies and children on the street. Then I catch a glimpse of black-eyed girls who giggle when I smile. There's a little boy that wants to shine my feet, and it's 3 days ride from Bakersfield, and I don't know why I came. I guess I came to keep from paying dues. So instead I got a bottle, and a girl was just 14, in a damn good case of the Mexicali Blues. Yeah, is there anything a man don't stand to lose? When the devil wants to take it all away, cherish where your thoughts, keep a tight grip on your boots. Just thinking and drinking are all I have today.
Thank you, Bob Weir, for that song on my iPhone of Mexicali Blues from the album Ace. But we'll get to music on my different live, maybe an hour or so. But hello and welcome again on the Levine Sports segment. I was just playing a little music for the background information for my quick break. And for the NBA, I believe that there's a lot of great teams out there. And some teams I thought we're not going to even make the playoffs this year. The Spurs, even though I believe in the Spurs and Greg Popovich a lot in their present basketball operations with R.C. Buford, I also believe that the Spurs took a jeopardized hit when they traded away Kawhi Leonard, because you never knew how DeRozan was going to be in